when we learned that Virginia had the retinitis pigmentosa, it was almost a relief because we, for years, were trying to find out what, in fact, was the problem with her eyes. So there was a certain amount of relief to it, but it was a double-edged sword because, on the other hand, retinitis pigmentosa, for its ultimate end, is total blindness, when all the retinal cells ultimately die off. I must say, though, she handled this remarkably courageously. I, for example, would never found her in a state of depression. I would never walk into a room and find her crying about the situation. She always seemed to be upbeat. As a matter of fact, in the early years of this, we went to a conference, I remember, for the blind, and there were people there, and there was a woman that approached her and said, "Virginia, when did you go through your period of depression?" And Virginia's response was, "Well, I never did go through a period of depression." And the woman didn't believe her. She said, "How could you not have? I went through serious depression and had to go through counseling and before I could accept my fate." And Virginia said, "Well," she said, I've kept very busy. I've just not dwelled on it, and I honestly have never gone through a period of depression." And I think that reflected the courage with which she accepted this fate, if you want to think of it that way. And so she always was a person that was always looking ahead. And so she always was very upbeat, always looking for the next opportunity, if you will. And as a matter of fact, when she went to the Miami Lighthouse for the blind, to supposedly, as we call it, to learn how to be a blind person, she actually told Purdue University that she would be back because this was like a one-semester program, so it coordinated well with my taking a sabbatical leave. And so she said, "I'll be back." And so it wasn't until she was into the rehabilitation for a few months that she realized that she really couldn't go back and do the same job that she was doing. And she decided to go ahead and go on disability and resign her career at Purdue University. All these years where Virginia's eyesight was deteriorating, while she was at Purdue, she still had eyesight. In other words, the RP, retinitis pigmentosa, is such that you lose vision from the periphery. So you lose your peripheral vision. It comes down to a tunnel vision. And so she was able to read with proper contrast a spreadsheet when it was presented to her in a well-contrasted manner, black and white, and with large enough letters. She could read that clearly. So there were many people. There were many people who never knew at Purdue, who never knew that she was blind and losing her eyesight. So at any rate, the story at Purdue was she would be required to give addresses to various groups. Being in the business office, she worked along with the president and the provost and advised them on financial issues. To go into a room she had never been in before and give a presentation to a group. So she would ask me to, the day before, accompany her to one of these rooms, and I would then describe the room to her. And I would tell her where the table was. She would find the table with her hands. She would find where the podium was, where the microphone was, and in essence kind of do a dress rehearsal for a few moments. And then I would describe the entire room to her. And we did this on a number of occasions, and it helped quite a bit. So when she would go into the room the next day and give the address, it would appear to someone in the audience that she knew exactly where everything was, and there was nothing unusual, nothing to trigger someone to suspect that she was losing her eyesight. And so we did that. We did that for many years, and that's how it ultimately worked out.